Hi gang, if you are looking at this video, then you have just collected data based on a pendulum lab. You've disconnected the CBR from the calculator and you have data still sitting in your calculator. What we want to do is we want to choose a piece of the data so that we can analyze it. So what we're going to, and at that point we'll choose Analyze, and under Analyze we're going to choose option number 7, which is Select a Region. And then it'll say option will delete all data outside of those results, but that's okay, so we're going to click on OK. So you'll notice over here there's a little turtle. Well, we like this part of actually the whole graph looks great, but we're going to choose this piece over here. We're going to do that by pressing Enter. Now you'll notice that over here on this side there's a turtle, but we're going to walk it in. We're going to walk this guy in, and what we're trying to do is clip off just a piece of the wave. We don't need the whole thing, so I think I'm going to stop right about there. I think that'll work perfect, and I'm going to choose OK. Now what that's going to do is it's going to get rid of all of this data except for this part right here. So we still have a nice pretty wave, and you're going to want to clip and get you a nice pretty wave yourself. So I'm going to choose Main. It's going to say, then I'm going to choose Quit. Then it's going to tell me where my data is, and I'm going to say OK. And now I'm into the plain old graphing calculator mode that you're familiar with. If I push the graph, I'm going to see my data. So those are points. That's not actually a function. So what I want to do is I want to put a function into the y equals so that I get a line that maps this function here. So I'm going to push the y equals button, and I'm going to type in an equation, and you'll find this equation on your worksheet. And I'm going to type in the equation 0.6 sine, because this is our trig function here, 2, and that is about how long a period is for my pendulum to swing back and forth, about 2 seconds. Let's see, open parentheses, x, here's x minus, and I asked you guys to choose the value of pi, and we're going to close the parentheses, and we're going to close it again, and then I'm going to add 0.3. This is just an equation based on my measurements that I should have. Now I'm going to graph this, but I may have to change the graph around a little bit, or sorry, change the function so that it matches the graph. So it looks pretty bad. I'm kind of liking the size here. That kind of matches, but this seems to be a little bit out of phase. So I'm going to see what I can do. I'm going to go back to the y equals, and I'm going to try and manipulate this function. I'm going to change this to, I'm going to delete, and then I'm going to insert the number 1 and see how close, because I've done some measurements. Actually, I know that it's going to be 1.02. Should get me pretty close, and that's just based on some measurements and playing around that I did. And I'm going to change this right here to oops, I got 2 points there, 4.5. And I'm going to graph the function and see how it looks. So let's see what happens. So there is my data. So there is my function, and you can see that it matches up a lot better than it did earlier. So that's kind of what we're going to do for now. So good luck in mapping the functions.